Yeah, the secret to love is never giving it up. If you wanna be the one that ends up on top. Yeah, the secret to love is never giving it up. If you wanna be the one that ends up on top. Yeah. Dance party today. Welcome. If you've arrived here, you're well off the beaten path. I am a nobody. I'm a brand new YouTuber that never makes YouTube videos. Here we are. How do we get here? How did we get here? Let's break this down. So I think most people that are watching me know who Warren Buffett is. And just like the journey that he's been on, right? So if we look at Warren Buffett's journey, right? Investing since he was, like 11 years old? And obviously a ridiculous multi-billionaire to this day. I mean, his company is, I don't know what his actual net worth is. Maybe it's hundreds of billions of dollars or, trillions or, I don't know. What's the next one? Gazillion? AI's making gazillions. Investing back then was very hard to do, right? Like when he was 11, right? Like you're literally paying people to get like this piece of paper that says, hey, you own part of the, the stock over here, right? And nowadays, we live in this world where literally you could just go online, as long as you have an address, and just create an account and start hitting buttons, and you can either make or lose money within seconds. We live day by day. Just, everything becomes the norm, right? And we forget what it was like back then. And so this is the norm that we're in, where it's easy to make money. Now, for people out there that don't have a lot, I'm sorry for saying that, but there are just so many different avenues right now to make money. It requires effort. It requires learning a skill, right? I mean, this is a skill that you learn over time. Like, why the hell? I've been thinking about this. I've spent a lot of time thinking about this, wondering how I'm going to do a video like this. So we start off with the concept of like Warren Buffett trading when he was really young and how slow it was. And if anybody here that watches me like dabbles with the stock market or researches or things like that, if you research and watch the entire stock market performance since like almost 100 years ago at this point, you're going to realize that there is growth constantly, but the growth is very steady until you hit like these 2000s and things just start spiking, right? Why? Well, you could say dot-com bubble or something like that. But then again, we don't talk about it very much, but there's probably been a lot of different moments in time prior to like me being alive where there were spikes in demand or excitement or whatever. I mean, heck, look at the 20s, The thing that we're not like noticing is how rampant the change is though, right now. And what created that? Internet is probably a good avenue to go down. Nowadays, AI, and 2 years from now, I'll be like, quantum computing, we'll just come up with the next thing to freak out about, be excited about, it's just next, right? But we look at this whole thing and we wonder to ourselves, okay, so if the internet is creating this like playing field, right? And it's making it more accessible. Back then, when you're buying a stock and you're just getting the piece of paper that says, hey, you own a little bit of this company, it's just so hard to go through the process, right? It takes time. It takes a lot more effort, right? Nowadays, it's reckless. You could just hit a button and buy or hit a button and sell, you know? I mean, it's a little slower with collectibles. I think this is why this market will always have a cap on who hangs out in here, because the liquidity is different than a stock market. We're not going into that right now. This movie is about a different kind of topic. But one thing I've heard lately is a lot of people have been saying that everything is all played out, right? Everything, like, people know what they're doing. Everybody is, buying. There's like millions of hoarders out there. There are people with all this product. I mean, look at this dude on YouTube. He's going to crash the market. This right here is going to crash the millions out there. Maybe I'm going to sell. Maybe I'll sell. Maybe I'll sell my whole shelf and destroy the market. Right? It doesn't work like that. Even if someone with like thousands of booster boxes dumped them, yes, it's going to create pain, but like in the long run, is it really going to stay there? That's kind of like the question, right? So here we are in this time where everybody's like, there's so many people hoarding products and they could dump it, whatever, things could happen, right? I mean, look at what's happening with Pokemon right now and just the ridiculous amount of product that's coming out to market, targeting certain people that have been taking advantage of the system. Okay, we all know. We all watch it. We're all part of it. This is the problem that we're talking about is if it's such an oversaturated market, then where's the opportunity? Like, why would we hang out here? Why would we be here? "2020 was such a big year that I think most people out there are not really thinking about how impactful that year was. I mean, we've already forgotten what's happening. I don't know if anybody out there remembers that tens of millions of people were dying. At least that's what the little ticker roll was saying. You know, it's just like death, 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 death. And we're looking at this and like the world was crashing. It was absolute panic. I don't know if anybody, I don't know, maybe people watch me that weren't even born in that time, you know, like no one ever talks about it anymore. It's like something, like, it's like the Great Depression, you know, COVID, what, 5 years ago? Oh my gosh, that was like 3 generations ago at this point, you know? Tens of millions of people were dying. We were getting locked down in our places with all these different rules. The toilet paper and the bread was just like missing. Well, it was flour, was just like missing, probably bread too, from the shelves of the grocery stores. Yeah. You go around without a mask and you just get destroyed, right? It's dangerous too, spreading, things like that. We won't go into it. But it was just such a surreal time. And a lot of people ended up losing their jobs or, you know, getting set to the side. Oh, we'll give you work later. You know, it was a very crazy time. And that's what created the money printing and all this money sloshing around, the increase of assets across the board, you know, however you want to say it. And here we are today, where all this money is sloshing around. Everybody was forced on the internet, and now here they are doing what I'm doing. You know what? Everybody's probably doing it better than me. I look like I'm a nobody here. Why? Because I am a nobody, okay? How, like, you're still watching me or listening to me makes no sense at all. I have no idea, right? If you're here, you must truly love Magic and Pokemon if you're listening to me. But I watch how these things change, and I'm listening to all these people who are just like, you know, there's so many investors, there's not that much opportunity, not that much growth, but yet you look at like the prices of collector boxes, look at Pokemon boxes over the past number of years, and it's been substantial. Now, there's a good reason for that, because we went so far down in 2022 and 2023, and then we went so far up. I don't know what sound that was. And here we are. So because of the down and the up, it makes the up look bigger because we're coming up from the lower place. It's the concept. I don't know if that made sense to anybody. I'm going to put out an argument there that I think, simply put, people are wrong. I think that this time right now is the greatest time, you know, in the unforeseeable future to get into collectibles. I don't hear much people saying this, you know. Usually what you're going to have is a market like full of people who've been here for a long time, so things aren't as good as they used to be, you know, or, you know, maybe they're better. I don't know. But most people are going to, you know, they're going to remember what it was like in the past to be like first to market, right? These are really old people. And then they're like, there's not as much that I can do now, right? I'm going to disagree with that. I think this is the greatest time to get in here. Here's why. So we got like this new Fed chair who's coming out. What's his name? Wart? Okay. Wart came out, and we've been usually, how should I name it? We've been used to Owie Wowie, and now we got Warts and Forts. And so Warts and Forts comes out, and he's saying nothing, right? I mean, we got one of the biggest catalysts. Has that ever happened right now? I don't know. What do they do? Do they just go skiing in the Tetons and then say a bunch of shit to people, and then everybody's all hung up on it, but really they're just there in Jackson just to like hang out and ski in the Tetons? That's what I would do. In the middle of summer, hell yeah. You put like rolly wheels on your skis and you just go straight down the rock. You're probably going to have to wear like a bunch of cardboard so you can roll if you fall, right? That's what I think of Jackson, right? What are we doing in Jackson? Well, we're skiing down a dirt mountain on rolly wheels. So there you go. That's what we're doing. Everybody is paying attention to this. Almost everybody knows about this Jackson Hole event and people coming out telling us information and all this stuff, right? And so Owie Wowie used to tell us all this little stuff. Like, well, we got this going. We're evaluating. It's like the parent that's just like, this is why this is this, and this is why this is this, right? And maybe that's like your mom, right? You know, for anybody out there that has a couple parents, if you have less than a couple parents, or if you had traumatic lifestyle, I'm sorry. I'm just, you know, making content here. But like, you know, and then you have like the dad figure that's like, I ain't gonna tell you anything. And that's like wartsy fortsy here, right? And so all of a sudden we have this person who's coming out and telling us, yeah, I ain't gonna say shit to you. You know, it's like, everybody's like, oh my God. You know, I think those are like generational buying opportunities. If you know like a huge YouTuber out there and they end up disappearing, that's probably gonna be like a great buying opportunity, you know? Everybody's paying attention to it, and they're paying attention to these incremental changes that are happening, but people are not spending enough time to see the greatest picture here, the big picture of everything. We have changed as a society. We are no longer on this ridiculous slow grind to like figure out information. Nowadays, if I want to find out anything, even if it's the wrong information, even if the algorithm is coming by my house just to punch me in the face because it hates me, I still look up answers to like whatever questions I have about the world. I still am like watching for, okay, if I don't know, I don't know, how to pull a drivetrain off of my vehicle or something like that. Well, you go on YouTube and you learn it, right? And then you figure it out yourself and go through the struggle. But this interesting change here should be something that people are focused on. And the interesting change is this lack of information that we're getting with Wartsy Fortsy. I don't know if we're going to get any information in this nearby event where we just watch how our lives crumble or get built up and we're all just hamsters on the wheel watching somebody else tell us how our lives are going to be dictated, right? I have no idea what's going to be said. I have no idea if it's going to be positive. I have no idea if it's going to be negative. Frankly, I don't give two flying shits, okay? Even in like a down and depressed market, there's so much opportunity. But we have this information coming out, from someone who doesn't speak to us, right? And the market's just spinning right now. Like the market is confused. The market has no idea what's going on because of the lack of information. If you take information away from someone, they're forced to figure it out on their own. That's the problem with nowadays, and it's just going to trend more this way with all YouTube creators and that. Steve, are we a creator? Are we creators? What the hell? Are we? Am I a creator? I don't even know. I'm like a random nobody that shows up and nobody cares about. That's fine. That's fine. That's not the reason why I'm doing this. But like people like me or other people that are actually successful and do well in life are just spitting all this information at us. And they're just, you wake up and then you just answer. You get all these answers like thrown at you right off the bat. You're sitting in bed like, I'm waking up. What do I do? Let's start looking at content, watch other people's lives. Like that's where we're trending to. But it's making people more confused than ever. Either the lack of information or the fact of following all these different opinions and getting quick information because we want to be more efficient and we want to keep moving forward and just like constantly do stuff and get better and better and better and better, right? And these two things are converging and creating this confusion. I'm single-handedly going to put down that idea that, the opportunity's gone because there are more investors. I agree with the fact that there are more investors out there. I totally agree with that. How could there not be? With like the internet, the spread of information, of course there's tons of people out there. But my argument is that people are more confused than ever. If you spend time to not just look at what's hot, what's the next, we got Star Trek, for the next few months, that's all people are going to talk about. Star Trek this, that, whether it goes up, whether it goes down. I mean, we can pay attention to it. We can make an evaluation. We can buy something, right? Where's my Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, right? You know, when we make a decision like that. But like, you have to understand the confusion because everybody's looking for an answer. And so if you have someone that comes out that doesn't give you answers, it's a beautiful thing. You watch like the ants, right? You know, if the ants, right, come out of their hole and they're like, I smell cheese cracker. And they start going, and they start eating the cheese crackers, right? And then they're like, I gotta tell my friends about this. And they turn around, they're like, and they go back to their friends like, cheese cracker over there, right? And you see the line of ants that are just going to the cheese cracker and coming back. This is humans going to the cheese cracker and coming back, right? But if you take the cheese cracker away, the ants are going all over the place, right? They have no idea what to do. And this is when skill comes in. This kind of time here is really going to expose those that are actually putting in the effort versus those that have no idea what's going on. And hot take, I believe, I'm going to throw out a crazy number, like 98% of the people out there have no fucking clue what's going on. And they're just going to make rash decisions based off of whatever people spit at them, which creates a volatility. I heard this back in 2021 where someone on YouTube warned that we are going to hit much more volatility. People are learning how to go into a market, out of a market. They're learning how to buy, sell quicker. We have AI now. A long time ago, was that like over a year ago? I made a video about AI and how its impact on like trading or like collectibles, you know, how it notices trends of going up and then it, you know, we buy, and then it notices like, oh, we're going down. And everybody's just like following this path, right? We become lemmings. We jump off the cliff together. But there's going to be one lemming out there that's like, this shit is stupid. I ain't jumping off that cliff. Are you kidding me? There's rocks down at the bottom, you know? Like, you have to exit out and watch the whole trend and learn patterns and find opportunity yourself. That's the only way you, like, do well, or well-ish, or, you know, however you want to say it. And of course, it takes longer than you think, and the impatience is growing in people lately. So we look at this whole situation with these volatile ups and downs, and yeah, things are skyrocketing. I mean, things haven't really been tanking lately. We will see one. Things have been skyrocketing, and that's where people are like, you know, like if I bought a $200 collector box and it goes to $1,000, I did great. If I buy it at $800 and it goes to like $1,500, that's less great, you know? And so everybody's like, it's all played out. But that's not true because the lack of information and the stupid fucking people out there create an inefficiency. We are currently, in my opinion, in an inefficient market. It looks efficient. It looks like it's doing well, but we're inefficient to the other direction, right? It's crazy. And then, what happened? Where's Slumpy's here. Slumpy's still here. Okay, we're still hanging out with Slumpy, right? Everyone is so confused right now. The confusion is what creates opportunity. It's not the numbers of people in here. We already know that people are not going to stay. They're gonna leave. We already know that people are dumb. And then as new people come in, they have no idea what they're doing and they're going to make the same mistakes over and over again. Here's my question. With like billions of people on the planet, if we we're to like look at like who's investing and things like that, we're going to see growing numbers over time. So if we're seeing growing numbers over time, why have we not gotten to a more efficient place? Because people are so confused. They have no idea what's going on. They will keep not knowing what's going on because all people do is they chew on the information and the algorithms that get fed to them on a daily basis, and they just have no idea. They just get fed it. So, hot take, if you can do any form of studying, look at different products, look at how much is out there, look at how much is selling, revisit it, check the different things. What are you into? Pokemon, Magic? I mean, at this point, it doesn't really matter. You just pick a game and you play with it, right? I mean, there are people out there like pumping Grand Archive. I cannot believe that game is still going. Oh my gosh. One of the booster boxes I was just looking at had like 10 sold in like the last 3 months. Something ridiculous. The last month, whatever it was. You know, it's just... But apparently maybe there's opportunity. If people still are excited about that, the 5 people that play the game, you know? You just learn the market that you're in. And you learn, like, what do the people like? What are they after? And you find opportunity there. It needs a higher level of thinking that most people are not going to have. This single-handedly, in my opinion, is the greatest time to get into this market because it's so confused. Maybe at some point we figure it out. I highly doubt it. And this is probably why collectibles aren't a bigger part of people's lives, because they simply don't understand it, right? Not everybody out there plays Magic. Apparently everybody in the world knows what Pokemon is, right? And they think it's cool. But like, if you buy into a Pokemon box, right? If you buy into Chaos Rising, right? And you decide, I want this, and then it tanks. You know, the only stupid people holding this are me, right? But like, if you like pay attention to that and watch it, and it goes down, and you have no idea what you're doing, you're probably going to sell it. And you're probably going to say, screw this, I don't want to be a part of this. Now, if it goes up, you'll stay, right? But if you still have no idea what you're doing, eventually you're going to leave. There are so many new people coming in, making the wrong decisions. Everyone's confused. And now we got Mr. Wartsy Fortsy giving us zero information. End of fucking story. Enjoy your day. Now you know.